Google just released an AI model that can read your entire codebase, your complete email history, and a full-length movie all in one conversation. It's called Gemini 3.5 Pro, and it just rolled out today with something nobody expected, a 2 million token context window that changes everything. To put that in perspective, that's 25 times bigger than ChatGPT's context. That's like asking an AI to analyze 400,000 words of text at once. So what's Google actually built here? It's not just a bigger context window, it's a completely different way of thinking. Google added something called DeepThink mode, and it's revolutionary. DeepThink runs multiple hypotheses in parallel, checking its own work against itself as it goes. It's like having an entire team of researchers inside one model, all reasoning through the problem at the same time. Google says Gemini 3.5 Pro is now the smartest model on Earth for hard science and math problems, and the benchmarks back that up. But here's the catch. It's only available right now to Google AI Ultra subscribers, which means the expensive tier. So who actually gets access first? And what does this mean for the race against OpenAI's GPT 5.5 and Anthropic's latest Claude? Here's what's about to change the entire AI landscape. You might have heard Google promise Gemini 3.5 Pro back in June, but they didn't ship it. They delayed it by a month to get it right. And honestly, that's the smartest thing they could have done. Here's why. Google's been in a race with OpenAI and Anthropic for frontier AI dominance, and every release matters. A rushed model with bugs gets mocked in forums, and the narrative sticks forever. So Google took time to refine DeepThink mode until it actually worked perfectly. And that refinement paid off. When the benchmarks came out, Gemini 3.5 Pro was crushing competitors on reasoning-heavy science and math, the tests that truly separate the frontier models. The rollout strategy is clever too. They're not releasing it to everyone at once. Instead, they're starting with Google AI Ultra subscribers, the people paying $20 a month. That's a smart play because it lets them collect real feedback on how people use 2 million tokens. It builds hype organically, and it keeps server costs from exploding. A 2 million token context window is computationally brutal. It needs massive GPU memory, and the inference costs are staggering. By throttling access to paid subscribers first, Google solves a problem most people don't see coming, and that's where the real innovation lies. Here's where Gemini 3.5 Pro gets genuinely different from every other frontier AI you've used. Most AI models think like a calculator. You give them a problem, they run through steps one by one, and out comes an answer. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's confidently wrong. DeepThink changes the game. Instead of thinking step by step, it thinks in parallel. Imagine you're solving a hard math problem. You try one approach, hit a wall, backtrack. Try another approach, hit another wall, then suddenly something clicks and you see the right path. That's frustrating when you do it. DeepThink doesn't get frustrated, it does all of it at once. It runs multiple different hypothesis paths simultaneously, checking each one against the others. It's like having 5 different versions of yourself inside the model, each reasoning differently, and all 5 can see what the other 4 are doing. That's powerful because it catches its own mistakes. If one hypothesis path reaches an obviously wrong conclusion, the others can spot it and flag it. The model essentially has built-in error correction. It's thinking about its own thinking. Google says this is why Gemini 3.5 Pro absolutely dominates on science and math benchmarks. These problems require precise reasoning. One small error early on breaks everything downstream. Parallel reasoning catches those errors before they compound. And here's what really matters. This scales beautifully with bigger context windows. 2 million token context window might sound like a spec sheet number, but let me show you what it actually means. First scenario, you're a software engineer. You dump your entire codebase into Gemini 3.5 Pro. We're talking 50,000 lines of code. Every function, every class, every file, in one request. Then you ask it to find security vulnerabilities, refactor for performance, or understand how 2 separate modules interact. Before, you couldn't do this. Your context window was maybe 100,000 tokens. Now it's 20 times bigger. Second scenario, you're a researcher. You've got a 400-page research paper you need to understand deeply, not just summarize, but truly understand. Read it all, then ask Gemini 3.5 Pro to find contradictions with other papers, spot methodology flaws, or connect it to 5 other papers you feed it. A 2 million token context means the model holds an entire research domain in memory at once. Third scenario, you're building customer support. You upload years of support conversations, thousands of them. Gemini 3.5 Pro learns your company's knowledge base, tone, policies. Then it handles questions better because it's literally read every conversation you've ever had, or video work, transcripts of 100 hours of content, or financial analysis, years of earnings calls at once. The bigger the context, the smarter the model becomes because it's seeing everything simultaneously instead of in fragments. So Gemini 3.5 Pro is brilliant on paper, but how does it compare to OpenAI's GPT 5.5 and Anthropic's Claude in the real world? The context window difference is stunning. Gemini 3.5 Pro has 2 million tokens. That's absolutely enormous compared to most other models. Both GPT 5.5 and Claude have context windows too, but Gemini's is dramatically larger. You can fit a whole codebase in Gemini. You might not fit one in the others, but here's what actually matters: the benchmarks. Google released comparisons showing Gemini 3.5 Pro outperforming its competitors on reasoning-heavy tests, science, math, code analysis. These aren't trivial benchmarks either. They are the ones that separate frontier models from good but not frontier models. Google explicitly claims Gemini 3.5 Pro is now the best on hard science and math, and the test results back that up. Now, Claude's strength has always been safety and harmlessness. It's built to refuse unsafe requests and generally be cautious. That's valuable for some use cases, but it's not about raw reasoning power. GPT 5.5 is OpenAI's answer to Gemini, and it's solid, but the benchmark comparisons favor Google right now. Here's the kicker though: Google is only releasing Gemini 3.5 Pro to Google AI Ultra subscribers at launch. OpenAI released GPT 5.5 broadly. That's a huge strategic difference. Gemini is smarter, but it's locked behind a paywall, while competitors are already in millions of hands. Google just made a bold move. By shipping DeepThink with a 2 million token context, they're signaling something crucial. The frontier race isn't slowing, it's accelerating. For the past year, people asked whether we'd hit a wall with AI scaling. Are we approaching limits? Google's answer is no. They've pushed bigger, gone deeper on reasoning, and the results are undeniable. But this signals something darker. An AI race between trillion-dollar tech companies is expensive. A 2 million token inference costs real money: server compute, electricity, specialized chips. Google can afford it because they own data centers everywhere. OpenAI probably can, Anthropic probably can, but smaller competitors, startups, they're getting left further behind. The race is becoming an arms race. Google pushed DeepThink. OpenAI will push back with GPT 5.5 improvements. Anthropic will push back with their next Claude. Each is trying to be marginally smarter while spending more to do it. Here's what matters: the gap between frontier AI and everything else is growing. If you're using older or cheaper models, you're falling further behind. And frontier AI is increasingly behind paywalls. You want the best reasoning? Pay for it. You want 2 million tokens? Google AI Ultra only for now. That's the future of AI, accessible to those who can afford frontier pricing. Okay, so Gemini 3.5 Pro sounds incredible. How do you actually get it? Step 1, you need a Google account. If you've got Gmail, you've got a Google account. Step 2, you go to Google's AI website, which is at googlegemini.com. That's where you can access all of Google's AI models. Step 3, subscribe to Google AI Ultra. This is the premium tier. It costs around $20 a month in the United States. If you're outside the United States, the pricing might be different. But once you're subscribed, you get access to Gemini 3.5 Pro immediately. Step 4, you can now use the full 2 million token context window. Just paste your code, your document, your transcript, whatever, as long as it fits within 2 million tokens, and then ask a question. Here's what makes it different from free Gemini. Free Gemini works great for basic questions. Google AI Ultra gets you Gemini 3.5 Pro with DeepThink, with 2 million token context, with the full reasoning power. There's no comparison really. But here's what nobody mentions: 2 million token inferences take time. They're not instant. If you paste a gigantic codebase and ask a complex question, Gemini 3.5 Pro might take 10 or 20 seconds to think through the problem. That's normal. It's thinking deeply, running parallel reasoning paths, and checking its own work. That's why you pay for it. So here's the one thing you need to understand about Gemini 3.5 Pro. Google isn't just releasing a bigger model. They're releasing a smarter model that thinks differently. Deep think reasoning plus 2 million tokens means Gemini can see entire systems, entire domains, entire conversations, and think about them holistically. That's a genuine leap forward. For most people, this doesn't change your life tomorrow. If you're using free ChatGPT or free Gemini, you probably won't notice much. But if you're a professional, a coder, a researcher, a business analyst, anyone who works with complex information, this is worth paying attention to. The real story here is bigger than one model release. This is Google signaling that the AI frontier is still moving upward. After a year of people wondering if we'd hit a ceiling, Google showed up and built something genuinely new. That matters because it means OpenAI and Anthropic have to respond. It means the companies spending billions on AI are still finding new things to build. And that's where the story gets interesting. Because if Gemini 3.5 Pro is this smart, what comes next? What happens when these companies keep pushing? What does frontier AI look like in 2027? Follow for daily AI news to stay ahead of these breakthroughs. Subscribe and you won't miss when the next frontier model drops, because it's coming soon.